Welcome to our weekly podcast, Real Talk with Chris and Ross. We are designed for entrepreneurs and forward thinkers. We also care very heavily around the real estate industry as a whole, bringing you hot topics and up-to-date content with a lot of amazing special guest speakers along the way. So sit back, buckle your seatbelt, and get ready for the best hour of your day. Yo, what's up, man? Welcome. Real Talk with Chris and Ross. Man, it's great to be back. Episode 46. I know we took a break there throughout the year. Had a lot going on in our life, but Rawson the third. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Man, I am great. It is so great to have episode 46 and to reflect and think about all that we've done to get here and the amazing guests that we have. And I know, like you said, it's been a while since we've jumped on. But, man, we've been building, we've been growing, we've been, becoming the best version of ourselves. And so it's okay to take a pause sometimes to come back and actually deliver a real value, talk about the nitty gritty, the business, the life, the focus, just everything, man. So things are good on my end, man. I know we talked a lot before the podcast, and I'm pumped to be on. I'm so jacked. I don't have a seat I'm sitting on. I'm standing for this podcast.
Hey, energy rolling with you, my friend. I can feel it. I can see it coming off the top of your head.
Yeah. How's my boy?
Oh man, equally as excited.
That looks great.
There's a lot. Yeah, thank you. There's a lot been going on. It's crazy. You're right. We've had a lot happening in our plates from start of January of 2024. We had our last episode, I think, which was right before Christmas last year, and then we kind of paused. But we've had a lot going on. I know I have, and you have too. A lot of personal issues, a lot of family issues, a lot of business issues, and it's been crazy. I was right. We talked earlier before we got on a podcast, and I thought from 2024 when the year started, I said to myself, this year is going to be unique. This year is going to be something, and it truly is turning into something. And I didn't know whether it was going to be a good something or a bad something, but I guess it depends again how you look at everything. As I'm continuing my journey, my path of being better and elevating myself, and realizing that there's no such thing really as good or bad. It's just all a learning lesson. So you look at it as something good, right? And so some people look at it as bad, but maybe it's something good. In the long grand scheme of things, when you look at it from the future point, that at some point it was painful in the middle, but it came out to be something great in the end. So maybe nothing's really ever bad. It's just a process and a journey that I'm going through, and yourself too.
Come on.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like everybody I'm talking to on a daily basis, my friends, my colleagues, my family, people I know, people who are locally I'm talking to, everybody's going through a season. And I don't really want to get into the grind of talking about the same shit that everybody talks about on podcasts. I mean, I get it. We're in real estate. Yes, everybody knows that. I've been a realtor for 22 years. You've been a realtor for over a decade. We've both been in real estate together collectively for over 30-something years. We know what we're doing. It's not about that. The market is not the greatest, but it's not the worst. And I don't even want to talk about that. Because at the end of the day, interest rates and market conditions and inflation and all that are good garbage that we're talking about right now. It's useless in my mind. It is. And I want to go back to whatever it takes to fix yourself. And it's like all the external shit that's going on in our life right now, which I just mentioned before, those are external situations and scenarios, right? And they affect everybody in different ways, shapes, and forms. But it's the internal part of yourself that really matters in order for you to get through and navigate through all the external shit, right? It's like to get through the forest, the trees, the tsunami. And so that's where a lot of it that you and I both know, every time we talk about this on podcasts, it's always about mindset, because that's the most powerful thing ever. Without that in our best interest to be able to continue to maintain that, we're done. And we're seeing a lot of people right now and very close friends that are going through some stuff that honestly have just kind of raised the white flag and quit because it's been too much, too hard for them. And I hate to see that because I know that it's just a season. And if you can ride out the season, then you'll be okay. So, there's a lot of things I want to talk about today. Honestly, not about race, not about inflation, not about the freaking election year. I don't want to talk about that crap either. It's just dog shit to me. I want to talk about my season of life we're at noon and yours too, because we haven't been on a podcast in a while. Maybe do a collectively catch up to where we're at to this point since January of 2024. And now we're into almost June, 6 months in. halfway through the year. So yeah, what were you thinking on that?
Time
Thoughts?
flies, man. Yeah, man. No, well, first off, I think you're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, you're right. Everyone in the podcast world, whether you're a lender, you're on title, you're a realtor, you're pretty much talking about what's happened with the market. But that is kind of completely irrelevant, because what we have always talked about on this podcast, like you said, is if you can't get the thing between your ears under control, none of it's going to matter anyways. And I think if you listen to pretty much from 1 through at least 30 or 40 of our podcasts, we would start out like every episode talking about this. And it's kind of ironic, because here we are in 2024, and all of 2023, our mindset was building, I believe, to this place, truly. And, I think that now more than ever, it really is important to, one, know why you're doing what you're doing each day, but then also have the belief in yourself that you're able to. You don't need to have all the tools. You don't need to have all the resources. You don't need to have the highest tech. I truly believe that if you believe in yourself right now and you can just show up and give your best, that is the most important thing over rates, over inventory, over sales, over anything. Because, man, you can get all the sales in the world, you can do all the thing, but what if they all get stripped away from you and then you're still back at square one? And I think that's what 2024 has been for a lot of people. Their sales have been going down, they're stripped away of that. And it's almost like an identity crisis. People are like, what am I doing? Who am I? And they are dropping. And it is sad, because they don't have to necessarily leave the market. They don't have to necessarily fall by the wayside. It's a real choice. And I know you're reading a book right now that you've shared to me that's blowing my mind, about just being able to receive and to be able to believe in yourself as value. So there's a lot to talk about, man. I know I'm just kind of putting it all out there at once, but it really is. If you can't get control between your ears, man, nothing's going to work out, in my opinion.
Totally. Well, let's dig into that a little bit, and let's get a little bit more micro on it, because I think that's kind of a broad spectrum of that. You're right. You don't control what's between inside your ears, and then you're done. But what does it even mean? And we go back and forth on this. I love what you brought up, the key point there of believing in yourself. Yes, the book I'm reading by Jamie Kern Lima is called Worthy, which is freaking mind blowing to me. I run a ton of books. I've done a lot of work on myself. 2 main components: self-worth and self-confidence. 2 words that people honestly kind of bring together and think they mean the same, but they're not. They're different. And that was what kind of blew my, because I thought the same thing, like, oh, self-confidence, self-worth, they run hand in hand. They're the same thing. They mean the same. And the reality is they do not. And there's a lot behind that we can talk about, from our product, our environment, the way we've grown up. You and I both have crazy stories. And, reality is a lot of that self-worth and self-confidence rolls into the other Achilles, which is rejection, right? None of us like rejection. It's interesting, as realtors, salespeople, let's call our salespeople. Doesn't matter. We're selling a home. You could be selling a vacuum cleaner. You could be selling a home.
Solar, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Solar, knives, shampoo, I don't care. A product of whatever the consumer wants to consume. That requires you and your effort to go out, time, energy, to spend on trying to find clients and consumers, right? And ultimately, the word rejection is pasted on your forehead, because it happens on a daily basis. Not everybody's lined up on your front door waiting to say, hey, Ross, I want to hear what you're selling me. Can you please just tell me what you got? Because I want to buy it. And I got a check right here to write it out for you. That's some bullshit right there. No, the truth is, we got to work really hard at fighting that, navigating through that process, right? And so the self-worth, self-confidence piece was huge for me, because I really looked at this, and as it dug into the self-worth, self-confidence piece, I realized today in my 50s, holy shit, I'm going to be 53 soon. My birthday's going to be like, in my 50s, I'm still dealing with a level of rejection in my mind that ultimately, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it. And I'll tell you why. As my childhood growing up, my background, you knew some of it, a lot of it, I was abandoned and rejected, so to speak, in a sense where I was ostracized based on our cult that I was raised in my family. And the reality is that I was isolated, ostracized, and judged in so many ways, where I didn't fit in at school with the kids because I could never be the same like them. And I couldn't even fit in at my house because I really wasn't even aligning myself with that belief system. I fought and challenged every bit of that environment in my home, and it didn't fit in. And so what happened? I created a level of rejection internally within myself, which is the worst part, right? That's where it really starts to kill you, because that's what sits with you 24/7. Regardless if you leave a room of people who are rejecting you or an environment of people that are rejecting you, you are sitting with yourself 24 hours a day in your brain, who is ultimately created this level of rejection on your own. And that's what's the worst part. So it just goes on freaking film, like Groundhog Day, over and over again, right? And so, yeah.
And actually, Chris, too, what you're talking about is actually scientific. Like, they say a child, I think below that age of 8, their brain is on a theta wave where they are downloading and they are programming their belief system. And so, you know, that is true. Once you're past that age, your brain is on a different frequency than when you were sub 8 years old. So when you're saying, you know, you grew up in these environments and you grew up in these things, not only is it mentally, spiritually a thing, but also scientifically, that we see the data, it does affect people. It does affect you. It does affect your beliefs. It does affect all of that. Yeah.
100%. And the reality is, I look at my situation and I look at it as, mine was kind of focused more in direction of the type of like that cult I was involved to my family environment and my upbringing. But in the reality, every human being on this planet, I don't care who you are. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what color your hair is, whether you're a man, you're a female, or whatever you want to call yourself these days. You got to be completely correct. It does not matter. Everybody went through a level of some ostracization or judgment as a child growing up, where they didn't fit in with the right group of kids. They didn't fit in with the right group of people in their family. They didn't fit in with the right clubs at school. They didn't fit in with the right crew of people. The feeling of not feeling isolated and ostracized and judged for being who you want to be, the way you want to think, the way you want to behave, becomes a level of rejection. It is what it is. And if you don't fix that problem, it will grow with you your entire life, because you sit that thing and it builds into your subconscious cavity, which is the vault, and it will lay there forever until you decide to figure out what that looks like. And then as you continue to grow and you grow up as a teenager and a young adult and a full grown mature adult, you're going to engage in other opportunities in your life that people are going to maybe scratch the surface or trigger those rejections as a child, and it will enhance it and create a fire inside of you. So I'm saying that when I'm speaking on here in the podcast world, you and I right now, we're talking, you and I have our stories, but I promise you, whether you want to admit it or not, you may be in denial. That's okay, because that's not our human trait. We're all in denial. But if you want to be in denial and believe that there's no level of rejection that you've engaged in or encountered in or had to go through as a child that you've carried into your adulthood, you're full of shit. I'm sorry. I'm going to call you out right now. You just choose not to talk about it. You choose to put it under the rug or pretend it doesn't exist. So that's kind of where I'm at today. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit about the self-worth, self-confidence piece. And the reality is, yes, if you can't really get a hold of the grip of your self-worth and your self-confidence, you will never grow and develop and become the person, because you'll never believe your self-worth is worthy of anything, right? Every kid sits in front of a TV and watches people that they admire, right? Our superheroes, our friends that we like. I want to be them when I grow up. I want to be a firefighter when I grow up. I want to be a doctor when I grow up. I want to be like my dad or my mom when I grow up. They idolize these people, right? But yet at the same time, with all the other pieces that we've had of the rejection and all that abandonment or whatever else is going on, it creates this damper or lid on us that does not allow us to feel worthy or deemed worthy to have that. What are your thoughts about that?
So good, bro. So good. Yeah, no, a couple of things. So first, I agree with you completely. I think, all we really have is our own understanding and our own experience too, right? And in this journey of life. So what Chris might experience, I might experience differently. But one thing I have noticed, at least in this, learning of the self-worth and struggling with these things that do go into our unconscious level, is the distractions in my own life. For me, I've always added all these distractions for me to never look at that dead in the face, right? To never look at that being worthy or being valued. And I would just say, well, oh no, I feel this way because I'm going to use a couple examples. Let's say this is the mirror. And so if you guys are listening to this on audio, I am kind of doing a visual example. All right. So bear with me, but I'll do my best to paint the picture for you. But let's just say, this thing I'm wrestling with, this void I'm trying to fill. quote unquote, or this acceptance or unworthiness is the mirror that I need to look at. And well, the truth is I'm just really unhappy because I don't have money. And so money's now the block that I'm going to add. And well, if only my spouse could then see me, right? And if this could just go right. And we start adding all of these contingencies on, getting to the truth. But the thing that is, and this has been 2024 for me at least, is that all these things I have achieved. I have a house, I have a family, now I have to look directly at the mirror. And sometimes when we go through that experience, one, it's uncomfortable, but two, we're kind of, for me at least, I felt lost. I'm like, wait, I can't say that it's the money because the bills are paid. I can't say that I didn't do it because I accomplished these things. Like, no, I'm feeling this just because I don't know how to navigate this emotion. And at that point, for me, I started to get really close to God and focus on my purpose and value and ask the Lord to really unprogram my mind, because in order to elevate to, and I was just talking to my coach about this, I talked to him and I said, hey man, I'm really struggling in this new transition of being an entrepreneur. And he said, well, Ross, you're operating on two different frequencies. You're trying to come from this abundant mindset. You're trying to say that you want to accomplish these great things. You're trying to be this amazing person, but Ross, you're still living in this low mindset, this low frequency, and you're receiving and accepting all these things that you've been told all your life. And so the reason why you're struggling with getting these abundance and achieving these amazing things is because your frequency is telling yourself unconsciously, you're not worthy of it. You can't receive it. So what do? You create a story that, one, doesn't keep you accountable. You start making excuses. If only this and this and this could happen. And you prove yourself true. You prove yourself that, yeah, see, I'm not going to accomplish that. I'm not worthy of that, but it's not true. You have to let go of that lower frequency and truly walk into your higher self. And I hope that's making sense.
Oh yeah, totally.
I really do, because I believe that we really do that to ourselves. And I think it's the letting go and walking into the newer self as God sees you, as others see you. Because it is so funny. I know, we look at the Brent Groves, we look at the Chris Akamiras, we look at the Dylans, and we think, man, they don't struggle. Man, they don't go through this stuff. There's no way. But the truth is they do. It's just they've gotten so good at dropping the weight and receiving what they are going after that it's just a muscle they can reflex instantly. It's just the problems have get bigger and bigger, and they're easily obtainable to accomplish. And in the beginning, we convince ourselves the mountains are so big, but they're not that hard to climb. They're not. It just starts with being honest with yourself today. And I think that's really big. Yeah.
It's key on that is like, I like a lot of people who, Tony Robbins talks about the definition of success, right? And it's growth. You gotta grow every day, right? It's progress. Progress is the key to success. But, one of the things that everybody lacks, and one of the things I want to add to what you give an example there of, that having the money, the wife, the spouse, the husband, whatever it is, your family, your home, all these things that, well, when I get to here, I'll have this. When I get to here, I'll have that. When I get to this, I'll feel this way. And I'll finally feel this. But it never comes. It never does feel the way you think it's supposed to feel. And it's because you lack fulfillment. That is the problem. You don't have fulfillment. And self-worth is the key to creating the fulfillment. Self-confidence is what grows you to keep doing things progressively. And that comes and goes with ebbs and flows externally. If we can define that real quick for those out there listening and don't know the difference between self-worth and self-confidence is external. Self-worth is internal. You cannot go out and buy self-worth. You cannot go out and attain. Someone can't give you self-worth. You have to grow that on your own. You have to work on that and build that on your own. Now, the external things that come in and out of your life, circumstances, short, small wins, small goals, big, large goals, things you want to achieve, those help create confidence in yourself to keep moving forward. But at the end of the day, if you get to that pinnacle and you're still not satisfied, it's because your self-worth is dog shit. I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah.
Your self-worth is still not there. And if the self-confidence does take a hit, which it will, I promise you, right now we're in a season in 2024 where we have a lot of external elements that are throwing targets and darts and arrows and bombs on each and every one of us. And people's self-confidence is taking a hit right now. They're going down a little bit of the scales, pendulum's going down. Or, okay, self-confidence going down a little bit. But those people that actually have self-worth that's valid and true and authentic, those ones will survive because the self-confidence will come back. Through another season, it'll come back. But the self-worth is always there. They know they're worthy of whatever it is they're chasing, their dreams, desires, aspirations. They know they're worthy of it. They are good enough for it. And it's that fulfillment, right? And that's the key. Why did Robin Williams and people of high celebrity statuses who in our rights and minds think for externally, they have everything, money, fame, audiences, people who love them. They didn't love themselves. They had lack of fulfillment, and they ended up killing themselves. It's sad, but it's true.
It is sad, and you touched on a lot of good things, and I want to pull that out a little bit with the self-worth. And I think that for me, at least in 2024, the main things that I had to focus on is I have to do everything the way that not only I believe is the right way, but I believe that I'm worth receiving. And what does that mean? That means that if I believe that I am worth loving and I am, God really put it on my heart, I need to start treating my vessel right. I need to start eating right. I need to start exercising. Because if I'm compromised in this area, what's going to happen when I go up to that, that appointment and I get rejected? Well, I already told myself I didn't have to go to the gym today. I already said I could eat that sweet today. I told myself I wasn't. And so you start degrading your self-worth because you're now compromising with what you said was that you would never settle with. And so what I've learned is that when I say, hey, you know what, I am going to drink a gallon a day and I drink it, or hey, I am going to go to the gym, or I am going to read, I am going to pray, I am going to do X, Y, and Z, that when we go to those rejection points, our self-worth isn't compromised because we know that we are showing up the same way on every appointment, every task, and we're not going to devalue ourselves based on a subjective opinion because we know that who we are. We know how we show up. And I think that for me, I was losing a lot of my quote unquote self-worth because I was started off by lying to myself. And I think that's what happens. Honestly, Chris, I was lying to myself and saying, oh no, I don't need to go to the gym. I'm fine, whatever. But I knew deep down I needed to. Oh, I don't really need to make those calls, but I really needed to. And so little by little, that snowball starts to creep up. And then all of a sudden we wake up even more unhappier. And then I often ask myself, I believe that pursuing the things that are uncomfortable, I create more worth within myself because I prove to myself what I am capable of. Mm-hmm. And it's in that pursuit that I value my self-worth even more. I truly believe that's what I found in 2024.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% believe that. The reality is that every time you don't show up for yourself, which you just mentioned, going to the gym, eating right, things that you in your mind committed to, like, I want to do this. I'm going to do this for myself. And you fail at showing up and you don't do it, that is a form of rejection internally on yourself, your own self-rejection, because you're rejecting your ultimate true self you want to be. If it's the working out person to be in better shape, if it's the doing all the reading and all the research to be better husband or a wife or better son or spouse, you are rejecting yourself of that glory at the end. And those small little commitments, oh my God, they take little chinks and daggers out of your ladder.
They do.
More than you think. You're thinking, oh, I could not lead generate today. I'm good. I'm gonna put it off. Oh, I don't need to go do the extra workout. The other night was a perfect example. Like I told myself I'm getting back to running. I made a reel about it. I told myself I was going back to running, and I did. I literally sat here on this freaking couch before I had to go. My shoes were sitting in front of me on the floor. My socks, everything was there for me on the table for me to go out and go run. And I literally was staring at them thinking, you know what? I can do it tomorrow. I'll be okay. I was literally in my mind trying to talk myself out of and justifying why it's okay that I don't go run tonight. It's okay. I could start tomorrow. That's bullshit. And I told myself, are you kidding me? Because it starts with just that. And then next thing is, I don't want to lead generate. It's okay. I don't want to eat healthy. That's okay. I don't want to be the best version of myself. Well, that's okay. And then 6 months down the road, I have turned into somebody that I don't even know who the F I even am anymore.
That's right.
It's insight on who you are as a person.
And it creeps into your relationships. It creeps into your business, it creeps in to the most important thing, your own life. And when I say this all the time, I don't care what it is that I do, but I want to be able to fall asleep on my pillow and not have my pillow have 1,000 regrets on how I should have acted or what I should have done. Because I don't care how much money you make, I don't care how many people love you, that pillow is the biggest peace of mind that you shall have in your whole entire life, right? And for me, I'm just not willing anymore to compromise that. I value myself today, and that's what 2024 has been. If you asked me in the beginning of this year if I'd be this confident today, I don't know if I would tell you yes, but I'm also thankful for the market that we're in, the opportunity that we're in, and I don't believe anything happens by accident. And so now trusting the process and looking at it, God's really just been showing me if I want to have value and worth within myself, it does have to start with me. No one else, like you said, no one else is going to come give you the business. No one's going to be standing out your door and knocking on it. Hey, I'm ready to give you the check to buy the product. It has to start with us. We have to create that innate belief within ourselves, for sure. And that's much of real estate, much of any entrepreneurship, man. You might have the most badass CRM and stuff, but you still got to get on there and make those dials. You still got to connect the clients. You still got to do the actions. And you're not going to want to show up every day, especially when it's hard, like a market that we're in right now. If you're not doing the things that it takes behind the scenes for yourself, it's just not going to happen.
100%. I used to have this imagination, a thought in my head. I'm looking at you talking about the pillow analogy. It's funny. Like I'm thinking yeah, what if your pillow actually had like boxing gloves on it or something? And every time you went and lay your head down and you didn't satisfy your goals for days, it would punch you in the face. It's like, no, you're not. Get your ass back up and go finish your job. Like I had this imagination, like literally punching in the face to kick you back up.
Dude.
How funny is that? But yeah, it's true.
Patent pending.
Yep. Boxing gloves to punch you in the face because you didn't finish your job. You can't lay your face down on this pillow until you've done your job and showed up for yourself.
That's
I love
it.
I kind of want to talk about the word rejection because that's the key. I think all of us right now are going through a series and a season of our life, whether you're out there doing lead generation, whether you're out there doing things with your spouse or any other, your coworkers, your colleagues, your team, you're a team leader, any aspect of life right now that you're leading a place of leadership and you're in a place of potential rejection. And rejection comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms. It's not one level of rejection. There's the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the physical rejection. There's all kinds of rejection. The internal, the external rejection. And all of us will fail to move forward in life with that component of rejection hanging over us. Why? Because the word rejection ultimately is ugly. It's a dark, dark word. A word that we don't want to link. It's not a good word. It's not a pleasant word like love and abundance. Rejection is raw. It's black. It's dark. And so we look at rejection horribly. How about, in this book, it's interesting to read that, is how can you turn the word rejection around and look at it as more as a positive thing than a negative thing? If you could redefine what your belief system of rejection is. So, case in point, if I look at a lot of my life, I can only use my examples. A lot of my life where I consider rejection as something that kind of kept me down, that really played a huge role in my self-worth, which ultimately played a role in my self-confidence. And it allowed me to believe that I was not worthy of having riches and wealth and love and wisdom and all the same because I wasn't good enough, right? What if I look at it and redefine as some of the things like making our phone calls for lead generation? And every time somebody says no or close the door and slams the door in your face and you feel that rejection, they say, don't take it personal. It's not personal. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting what you're offering. Still, it's hard to separate the two because we're human beings and we take that like with a grain of salt. So how can I redefine that? Maybe it's like they say, that person didn't need to be in my life because they were not part of my true end destiny. They were not going to help me get to my end goal. Maybe God was trying to protect me from something that he heard behind closed doors that I didn't hear in the open. I didn't know that. A friend or a colleague or a relationship didn't work out and I was brokenhearted over it. But in all reality, God was actually saving us from a sinking Titanic. We just didn't realize.
Come on.
That's key. So the rejection piece, I want everybody to really get into a space right now. This is where I'm really working at every day right now, daily, on how to redefine the meaning or my interpretation of that form of rejection means in my life. And I look at it, and it's interesting that I have a story. I don't know if I want to get into it, but yes, I have a story where I'm really looking at this from a personal view because I know where I'm at in my life right now and in my 50s. And I got so many people, my friends, and this is crazy, that reach out and say, Chris, like I literally had 2 of my friends the other day reach out to me on a text message, and I hadn't talked to them in a long time. They said, oh, I really need to talk. I'm really down and out in my life right now, and I'm in the dumps, and my life is not going the way I thought it was. I'm not showing up for myself, and I'm not in a place which I thought I'd be at. And I wanted to reach out to you because you're the first person that came to my mind, because you're always so positive. I remembered how positive you are. And how do you stay so positive? I'm like, are you right
now? Hey man, do you want to take a vacation in my mind? Because I could show you around.
Yeah, it's a dumpster file right now. I was like, you realize the best therapists are the people that have the most screwed up, fucked up life. That's why they're the best therapists. Why? Because they've been through it, they lived it, and they've experienced it, and they know what works and what doesn't work based on their examples. So I might be the most positive person on the outside because I have to do all the work inside. People praise you in public for what you do in the dark, in private.
So
and so I'm every day, for those that are right now listening to you right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not that person. I have to wake up every day and convince myself that I'm amazing. I have to convince myself I have self-worth. I have to convince myself of self-confidence. Yes, that is me, the most broken down, bare, most vulnerable, transparent individual right now. So if you consider me, thank you so much. If you do consider me as a positive person, I'm only doing it because I have to be that way for myself. This is for myself. And if it does affect you and help you, then I feel like that's a win to me in my life too. Like I want to be a person who elevates, empowers, and influences people to want to be better. That is, I think, my unique ability, that I can bring people out of darkness and into the light and help them see their truest potential out of my mistakes, out of my fuck ups, out of my crazy life.
Come on.
That's right. If I can help share someone else's life to be better based off my shit, I'm good with it. I am. I'm good with it. And I had to survive.
Now,
cool.
Now let me ask you this though, Chris, you know, because most people who experience that, right, and I know I can identify with that, do you find a ton of gratitude and a ton of value being able to be that voice for other people in their life, the fact that they do call you and you can give that direction? Is that a sense of fulfillment for you to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that's why I say success is what our purpose is, what you're put on this life for, what you put on this planet for. You know, that when you reach success or fulfillment, that's what that fulfillment is, that, right? It really solidifies why you were put on this planet, on this earth to do. What was your purpose? And I believe that is mine. I really do. I believe my purpose is to really, and I look at that based off my entire journey. Like if I laid a strip down of my entire timeline of my life since I was a child, and I don't remember much of it as a child, to be honest, but the moments I do remember, it was not pleasant. And we've also, even you too.
Yeah.
Like every bit of our was not designed to run in alignment with us being in a place that we're at today in success. In our version of you and I both were probably more in line with running the streets, possibly going to prison, and potentially dying. That was like
most of my friends in high school too, man, and prison or died. Yeah.
That was our trajectory. Like that was literally what in my life, my product, my environment, your environment coming up. That's what. But we both made choices to do something different. That's the key. The word choice is huge. And you're the same way.
I love what you're saying, man. There's so much fruit to this, guys. Like there just is. You know, and last week actually was a trying week for this. You know, literally every person in my family had the stomach flu, and we had to take the kids to the hospital because of dehydration. Everything's going wrong. Now it's me taking care of 4 people, and I am feeling now I'm getting rejected in my business. Business isn't going the way I want it to go. My kids are down, all this stuff. And I'm just scrambling looking, and I could hear that still small voice that said to me, and this is just one example that I could think of really recently, where it's just it's so important to find the good in all situations. And I could hear that still small voice. I'm a big believer in Christ. Say, Ross, 1, you're not in control of this, and 2, you need to be the structure for your family right now. Very much to what you're saying, like your friends are calling you. And I was like, man, what does that mean? Well, 1, I need to stop thinking that everybody needs to just get better so that I can go out and conquer the business world, because that's what I want. And I was like, come on, man, like we need to get better. I need to go make money. I can't be doing this. But it was in that moment that I realized that how do we become great with what's given to us? How do we become great with the opposition when, that deal that you wanted to close doesn't close and now you got to go back out and find more? How do we become great when, everything around us looks like a chaos fire and we're actually there with the hose and everyone's running away? Because see, God wants leaders that are willing to step in to the places where people don't want to go to be the light. And I believe that Chris, myself and so many other people, we gravitate towards adversity because we've had experienced so much pain and we love to be the structure. We love to say, hey, you can do this and be the voice. And there's so much power, not only to revert back from those rejection moments that we feel, that we do value the self-worth aspect of this, because as we go through that and prove to ourselves that we were able to conquer adversity and to go through those, we then value who we are more. We value why we're here. We value where we're going. And I just truly think, quick Bible story here. Jesus is on the mountaintop and he's got his two disciples there and they're having this amazing experience. They're on the mountaintop of life, right? The highs of life. And Christ said to his disciples, it's not good for us to always be here, And so what do? They went back down to the valley to get to work. And I think so much of our life, we want these date night experiences. We want these aha moments, but we forget that it is the day to day. It's the hard, it's the embracing life as it comes that really makes us who we are. It's the going to the gym and exercising to get a workout. It's the picking up the phone and getting rejected over and over and over and over that gets you the Lamborghini. It's the going after the hard that makes it easier too. You know what I mean? Man, I'm all fired up.
I love it. I love it. Dude, you're a roll. Yeah. It's true. You got to go through the hard. Easy now, hard later. It's truly what it is. And if you're trying to divert and go around so that you think you could beat it and not have to deal with the hard right now, you got another thing coming. Okay? Because the reality is life is going to throw punches at you. You got to be there and stand right in front of it and take that punch right square in the face. You have to.
And smile.
And smile. And get back up. And if it knocks you down, you get back up. Okay? That is guaranteed. That's one thing I can guarantee you next to death and taxes. That's what I can guarantee in life. Otherwise, the other people that don't grow, the ones that sit in the corner and are real quietly in their little bubble and don't cause waves, don't rock the boat because they feel it's safer that way, and they won't experience pain, that is not living either. God did not put you as a vessel, the most powerful vessel on this planet. Like, we are better than any technology piece that any man can build. It's just, they're always trying to duplicate the human, but they never will. One of these days they'll actually get it through themselves, but they won't. They're never going to be God. I'm sorry. And God created the most amazing specimen, which is us, the human being. And we can do things that people can't even imagine right now, because the truth is we've only tapped into probably 5 to 6% of our even potential. Can you imagine if we went to 25 or 35 or 45% of our potential? Holy shit.
Come on.
Fucking Yoda. We could sit we could like hover in midair and we could move shit, innate objects. I mean, if we really wanted, the power of our mind is ridiculous. And whatever, believe it if you don't want. Whatever. Yeah. But the truth is, we as humans, dude, we are a freaking Ferrari.
That's right.
Ferrari. And we're literally driving around through town in a fucking 1967 Pinto with honeycomb hubcaps. Not knocking the Pinto, because back in 1960, the Pinto was bomb. And do what you want to do, but I'm pointing in relativeness. God has given us the body and the frame of a Ferrari, and yet we treat it around town like we're a freaking Pinto.
That's right. Stop putting 87 inside of the Ferrari. Put the premium.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Or you see somebody who puts 22-inch rims and a freaking $10,000 stereo system in a $400 worth Pinto. What the fuck is that shit's all about? Like, that's literally an analogy of people in their life, right? I'm only going to work on a little bit of things to enhance a little bit of myself, to be just a little bit better than what I am, but I'm never going to be the real Ferrari. I'm always going to be the simulation of it. And dude, that's crazy. You have so much more potential. And if you're listening out there or watching this video, I want you to ask yourself seriously, from a most sincere, transparent, vulnerable place, and you look in the mirror, can you honestly say today that you are living your dream? Are you living? And everybody's got dreams. Across universally, every human being has dreams. Nobody doesn't wake up in the morning thinking, I just want to be dog shit today. I'm cool with living on the streets and being homeless. I'm good with that. No. And for damn sure, for you, you want it for your kids.
That's right.
If it's not for you, because you don't think you're worth it, that's on you. But you're for sure, through hell and high water, trying to do it for your kids. Which in the deep side of it, you really do want it for yourself. You just didn't get it. And you feel like, well, I'm going to give it to my kids. I'm going to give my kids what I didn't get to have. So you did want it. And you do want it. So
I love that, bro. But keep going. Keep going.
You look in the mirror and ask yourself, true honesty, am I living to my aspirations and dreams and desires? Truly. I can promise to say about 95% of you are not. We're not. I wasn't. I wasn't. For last time, I was like self-deflated. I was like the footballs.
Yeah, man.
Deflated.
I get that. I get that, dude. Hey, and I feel like I'm still being pumped up. God's still pumping me up, you know? And I love that you touched on that about, with having kids, because one of my favorite sayings right now is, and I say this to myself, and I'll joke around with my wife. I'm like, don't give up because the kids are watching. Don't give up. Okay, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people around you. Do it for your family. You know, because I know that this is true. Sometimes we will negotiate with ourselves. But if I tell Chris that I'm going to be here for this podcast, you best believe I'm showing up. You know, hey, I might say, if I just had a podcast for myself, I might skimp out, right? Hypothetical, right? But I'm less likely to let Chris down, because he is somebody that I do not want to disappoint. And I believe that if we have that why within our children, within our family tree, within others around you, maybe you're listening and maybe you don't have any kids. Maybe you're single and you're doing your thing. Maybe you have a spouse, but start to connect with somebody. Even if it's somebody in your office, get somebody to commit with you to better yourself, to give the reason why you're going to put in the work. It is really that easy. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy over the top. You know your why, you got it all figured out today, but you definitely need to do it for somebody, and it has to be bigger than yourself. It just does.
Oh, I'm just stop living small.
That's right.
Living small does not serve you. I know it's fucking easy. Trust me, I get it. I know it's easy. And by default, it's probably the easiest thing to go crawl into, because guess what? You can justify it every day with your freaking excuses when you're living small. It's easy. It's easy to meet those requirements. When you're barely 10% showing up, you can justify that and call that a win. Okay, cool. Call it a win. But the reality is, no, you playing small doesn't serve you at all. Any one of us. Not when you have a Ferrari in your garage. You are a Ferrari again. Stop living like a Pinto. Man, I just had to get something off my chest. Like some of the things I get, and I know everybody that's watching this and listening to this, again, you can put a front on. You can pretend that you're okay. You can pretend that you're not going through this, that my life is great, wonderful, and just amazing. We all know that's not the truth. It's a lie. It is a lie. But that's a lie that you're going to have to face at some point in your life, whether you do, whether you don't. I don't know. One day it may come crashing down like the house of freaking cards, man. Who knows? And hopefully you have a strong foundation of people in your life that are there to help support you and help you dig you back out of that freaking hole. It's inevitable. Right. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It's all going to happen. If you don't pay attention and address what's going on in your life right now, good luck. That's all I can tell you is good luck.
You know, I want to touch on that too. There's a phrase that I heard, or a saying, if you would, that says that, you know, if you're going the wrong direction with your life, God's kind of like a GPS. You're just going to keep going, recalculating route. How long do you want to go with recalculating route? Because we all know if we go out of the wrong direction, it's going to be a longer ride back to get on course, right? And so, you know, you can't put your foot in the stand and you can turn the car, the different direction that you're supposed to go. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to get there quicker. It doesn't mean that it's all going to be solved today, but at least you'll have the peace and understanding that you are heading in the right direction and that you're at least making progress towards the best you. So that way you can be the full version and drive that Ferrari that God's given you. Come on.
100%. So I would say this, a couple things. One, I want to show this book right here. Jamie Kern Lima, Worthy. I would say get this book right here. This is worth it right here. For those that I'm reading that book right now, and it's amazing. Changed my mind, changed everything about where I'm at, and it's just unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. So that'd be one of my things I start off with. Those I know I mentioned earlier in the podcast. Get that, do some homework, look at some of those things, reevaluate, redefine some of your rejection pieces in your mind that you think that's negative, and make it a positive thing. I know it sounds silly and just crazy, but yes, it does work. I'm actually doing it right now. And if you want to know how to do it, message me. I will show you how I'm doing it, because it does work. And it really starts to open a path of clarity that I'm seeing things right now. It's freaking crazy. It's crazy. And I don't even have time to even go in there. I mean, that'll be the next podcast, but man, some of the after effects of where I'm seeing this is insane.
Come on.
So it's like, 2.0 of me, 2.0. I got Rev Share 2.0. Woo, woo. I had to say something about that. Game changer. Yeah, that's right now. That's me too right now. Game changer. So,
come on. And Chris, I just want to say I value, listening to your story, and I know so many people do too. And it's great to have leaders like yourself who are as transparent in their growth and development, and do, make it not only relatable to go and conquer the things that we wrestle with, but also applicable on what to do to achieve. You're not just going out there saying, hey guys, I'm wrestling with all this stuff, but you're giving really good practical information for the person listening that is in maybe the same spot to be able to recover, to be able to have a game plan and have resources to make the change. And I think it's so great to watch you, my friend, like transform your life. And the short time that I've known you, man, leaps and bounds, dude. So keep up the great work, and thanks for, just putting this together here. I mean, this was awesome. I'm so glad that we got back on.
Me too. This was amazing. This fired me back up too. Like, it's like going and doing all the homework and the research in class, and you come out and just boom, shoot it out with a freaking fire hose right now to everybody. You're like, and you know what? You're not gonna probably touch the entire, like, hundreds and hundreds of people in the audience. That's fine. If I can touch one or two and make an impact on one or two, man, game changer for me too. Because that's all it is. It's one brick at a time, one post at a time, one step at a time. Right? That's where I'm at in my life. And you too. And I could say the same thing. Likewise, right back to you. Starting this podcast with you over a year ago, and just watch you as you come into EXP with us, this company, and your leadership, and you're stepping up to what you need to do and handling your adversities, man. You're not immune to this shit either. You've been going through it like on so many levels. We can't even go there, but yes. So my hat's off to you for being an amazing leader, amazing father, amazing husband, amazing business owner, and keep going. It's one thing. One word of advice I tell everybody right now: just don't fucking quit. Don't quit. I promise you, if you don't quit, keep going. Thank you. Keep going, because this is the journey. Ups, downs, lefts, rights, stops, divots, holes, crashes, and burns. You have to keep going. If you want what you want, keep freaking going. And that is the key. I promise you'll get there. I promise you'll get there. Ross, man, thank you. Always taking time out in the morning. I know our time difference is like literally 6 hours because you're in freaking East Coast and I'm in Hawaii. So
I love it. Don't worry, brother. I'd be here if it was midnight.
I was thinking about that earlier. Like, man, maybe I could do midnight and then Ross do 6 a.m. kind of thing. It might work too. But anyways, we appreciate every one of you that are listening to us continuously. We're back. We are doing this again. So we appreciate the audience and all of the support. We hope this was of value to you guys today. All I can tell you is keep on trucking. Don't stop. Keep looking forward and figure out internally whatever it is that you can do to redefine your levels of rejection to make it a positive thing. Until next week, you all, keep on riding the ride and riding the wave, my friend, and don't quit. Love you all. Have a great day.
God bless.